Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. And if you're new here, sit back, relax and enjoy the show. Because tonight, in celebration of my 1.5k subscribers, I'm going to answer some questions from subscribers. So stay tuned. Okay, so I just want to say thank you very much again to everyone who made this possible. Everyone that's watched my videos, subscribed to my channel, that's liked my videos. I'm just really grateful to all of you. And it's actually kind of funny because this morning I was on 1503 and now I'm on 1501. It's just the way it happens. So let's see by the time that I finish this video. Hopefully I'm still on 1.5. But yeah, I'll ask you to send in some questions about anything book related, life related, and there are quite a few of you that did that. So I'm going to answer those questions and I'm going to make it fun. I've got some books to show off, got some visuals to show off up above. So let's have some fun with this, starting mostly with the book related stuff and then ending with some more personal stuff. So yeah, let's get going. Okay, the first series of questions is from Andrew Crow from Canada, and yeah, a wonderful subscriber, and he's got more than one question here and I'm going to go through them. Do you have a dedicated library or bookshelves all over your house? I've got bookshelves everywhere. In fact, I've got so many books that there are books cupboard next to me here. There's just lack of space. And yeah, I did a bookshelf tour and I'm going to put up here the fact that we also got some new shelves, floating shelves around the house as well, just to accommodate all the books. I mean, I think I got about 1,000 books, so yeah, it's definitely not just this. What first got you into being a booktuber? Okay, we moved here about 2 3/4 years ago. And we moved from the big city, and it was a hell of a move. A lot of trauma, there's other stuff that happened, it was difficult. We got out of Joburg because we had a home invasion. It was very, very, very stressful, and also our jobs were very stressful at the time. Bad things happened, so we just packed up and left, and we came here. And I think about a month after we settled down here properly, I became a booktuber. So I've always loved books, I love reading, and I watched some awesome booktubers who actually inspired me, like Ollie from Criminology. It's probably the first inspiration I had. And I thought, yeah, I can talk in front of the camera. So yeah, I started a channel. Yeah, it's been great, it's been awesome, and it's my biggest hobby at the moment, pretty much. I spend most time doing it, so yeah. And then it says, do you reread favorite horror books as the years go by? I never used to, I think, but lately I have, because sometimes when you're feeling a little bit slumpy, I feel like you're getting into a reading slump, you're reading books that you're just not enjoying. It's good to pick up an old favorite, whether it's old horror or fantasy or whatever, just something familiar. And I found that really helps you get out of a reading slump. So yeah, I mean, the book that I've reread most of all is behind me here, Weave World, which I'm going to talk about just now. And yeah, so I do reread from time to time. Okay, the next question is from William's Library. Check out his channel, people. A very interesting channel. And how do you obtain books, used and new, considering the limited stores where you live? Do you buy them online? Both. We've only got one store. And yeah, I'm also going to put this at the end of the video. I did a kind of tour of our bookstore. Kind of drove out there and I showed you where we buy our books physically. But there's a bit of a limit, people. I thought it had, at first I thought it had a brilliant section for vintage horror and sci-fi and stuff like that. But the books don't really change, and in terms of the number of different authors you can find and the variety of horror that I can find, I just can't get it there. And yeah, that's the only store that we have here. So lately I've been buying online. So all the hauls that I've done recently, I've been doing it online. Yeah. Okay, next part of the question. Are you blessed with a large collection? Yes, I think I'm blessed. I've got about 1,000 books, and that's quite a lot of books. We've got about 5 bookshelves, 4 bookshelves, and then a whole lot of floating shelves, which I mentioned in the previous question. You've stated you have no local online sellers in a live stream. Okay, now I stated that a long time ago. We did find some online sellers, but once again the choice is very limited. You can go to an online store and they've got like 100 horror books, and it's all the same thing. Stephen King, maybe some Graham Masterton, maybe some James Herbert, but not Sean Hudson, but not much else. I can't find any indie authors, kind of newer authors, extreme authors. There's so much limited choice. And yeah, it's only recently, I think we've gone to Take-A-Lot and to Amazon, but it's expensive. So my last few hauls have been quite expensive, but I wanted those books so badly, people. I really want to read those books. So I've got a whole lot of new books. But yeah, it's limited. And then, do you have local libraries? Yes, there is one up the road in Margate, but it's a children's library, or mostly for children, and it's very small. There's not going to be any horror there, people. There's not going to be any books that I want there. So no, don't go to the library. All these questions tied together like this. What is the extent of your access to books? At the moment, online. But I'm really not going, I might do a small October haul for Halloween, but I'm not going to spend too much more time buying books this year. I spent a bit of money, and yeah, I need to settle back now and read the books that I own. So that's my answer to that. Okay, next up we got Isabelle Reads, another excellent channel. People, I'm going to link all these channels down below. Check them out, please. Okay, congratulations once again, Cliff. Thank you. Here are some questions. What book have you read the most times in your life and why? I read Weeworld. I find it beautifully imaginative, just magical story. I love the prose. I love Clive Barker. It made me fall in love with Clive Barker as an author. And I read it when I was very young, and then I read it as an adult, maybe when I was about 30. And I've just read it recently, and I still love it. And it's going to be a live show on Sunday, people. Myself and 2 of my friends are going to have a chat about this book on Sunday night. So be sure to tune in. And I'll provide all the details on my Discord. I think probably by Friday afternoon, maybe Saturday morning. So yeah, the times and everything else. Yeah, so come and join us for the live discussion of Weeworld. Next up, have you ever done a buddy read with your wife? Yes, in a way. We were on holiday, and there were 2 books that we had. It's like a 2-week holiday or something. We had Dean Koontz' Intensity, and we had another book back here, Robert McCammon, Swan Song, right? And we both read them, and we both absolutely loved them. And Intensity we pretty much read in one sitting, 2 sittings each. And the nice thing about it, on the beach, in a little beach house, little cottage, and we could just sit and chat about these books, and have a glass of wine, just relax and sit, talk about how much we love both of those books. So yeah, that's kind of a buddy read, I'll call it that. Okay, next up, what book made you the reader you are today? Got another one here. if you think about now today, I'm a horror reader. I read primarily horror. So this question is more like, what got you into horror? Because I mean, yeah, okay. First horror book, adult horror book, full length, big book that I read. I was about 13 or 14, I can't remember. And that's Stephen King, It. And I mean, I remember taking his book to school and hiding it behind my textbooks, pretending I was listening to the teacher and actually reading. I remember going to bed with a flashlight, covering myself up when I should be sleeping, and reading his book. Blew me away. So yeah, it was my real entry level into horror, and I loved every moment. And then the next one, now we're going even way further back. What's your earliest book-related memory? Right. I still think about, it must have been 6 or 7, maybe 6, Enid Blyton, in a series called The Magic Faraway Tree. A children's fantasy, very, very children's fantasy. But I loved it, and I was hooked. And it's this huge tree with all these weird characters, the sky with the moon face, and yeah, it's very special. And I mean, I can think of the Hardy Boys and all of that, but I had a lot of influences when I was very young. I was very lucky. I even remember, I think my mom reading to me when I went to bed, all that sort of stuff. I've read all my life, but yeah, for some reason, Magic Faraway Tree really stuck with me. That's my answer to that, yeah. Okay, next questions are from Zack from Shady Side Library. Now, it's an awesome channel. Talks Stephen King, but also talks a lot of YA horror, like Fear Street, all those sort of things. And really check him out. Okay, so I love what he says. You've come such a long way. Thanks, my friend. My question is, if you could choose, excuse me, actually it's just one question, but it's layered. If you could choose any book as required reading for a group of high school students, what book would it be, assuming you're the teacher? I am an ex-teacher. I taught for close to 30, 40 years, maybe 30 years. And I taught senior English, I taught junior English, I taught other subjects as well. I was head of sports at this one school. And yeah, I don't have the book here. It's the best book I've ever taught. Yeah, the students were so engaged. They loved the story. And we used to have conversations about this book for hours, about different themes that you find in the novel. And that is A Prince of Tides by Pat Conroy. And it's about memory, it's about pain. It's about family trauma, generational trauma, set in the Deep South. And it's just a fantastic author, just a wonderful writer. The way he describes the South and the characters, yeah. This is the one book that my students absolutely loved. But if I was going to teach a book today, considering if I went back to teaching, if I was going to teach a book today, I had to think about this a little bit. And the one book I thought about was my favorite author, 11/22/63. The problem with this book would be the length. It is very long. So to fit into a semester or to fit into it'd take a long time, so it probably wouldn't be practical. But there's so many themes in this novel and what it's about: historical fiction, love story, time travel, thriller, the whole idea of going back and making choices, and kind of impact of choices you make. And just there's so much, and the fact that you're going back in time to, it's a sort of sense of nostalgia, 50s America, 60s America, and how different it is today. There's so many things you can talk about in this particular novel. So yeah, that's probably my choice. Otherwise it might be something shorter like Shirley Jackson, We've Always Lived in the Castle. 5-star. Brilliant. Love that book. And I know another Shirley Jackson, I think, is taught or has read a short story, The Lottery, which is brilliant. But we always lived in the castle with the characters and the themes, and just, it's gothic and it's just weird. And the writing is exquisite, the prose. Yeah, I think I would go down with students. I think students would love that book as well. So yeah, that's my answer to that. Okay, I love this next question by Lola Pierce. Have you read any South African horror or other genres such as Dion Meyer, Carstens, van Rensburg, etc.? Yes. I was gifted by a South African author, contacted me. Yeah, lovely guy, Calvin Demmer, Dark Celebrations, as well as there were 3 other books back there, and it's brilliant. It's a lot of fun, and it's short fiction, some of it's flash fiction, but a very good horror writer, a very good horror author. So yeah, and I did reviews of the books that I've read, and then also Dion Meyer. I've read 2 books. One I read is Icarus, which is very interesting, but the one I preferred, I don't have it with me, is called 13 Hours, and that was an incredibly effective thriller set in Cape Town, where I used to live. I stayed there for quite a while. A beautiful city, the mother city of South Africa. And yeah, it's about these American tourists who are in Table Mountain, and I think one gets murdered and the other one's on the run, and it's fast paced, and there's a political thing as well. There's going to be a huge incident in South Africa if this girl's not discovered before it's too late. It's very, very good, very fast paced. And yeah, he writes in Afrikaans. His books have been translated into English and many other languages all over the world. So if you haven't read Dion Meyer, give him a chance. Yeah. And then I've also read loads and loads, something like 30, 40 Wilbur Smith books. I've got a whole bookshelf, one whole section of a bookshelf devoted to Wilbur Smith. A sort of action, adventure, thriller, men's adventure. You know, kind of, it is very much of its time. You know, when men were men, safari hunting, and you got beautiful women, you got sex, you got all these things. But still, if you want something kind of light-hearted, also sometimes very violent, very African violent, yeah, it's still just a fun time. Yeah. And then I've got hundreds and hundreds of South African wildlife books, because I'm an ex-field guide. So I've got books on birds and trees and, and leopards and pretty much everything. I've even got an insect book, I've got a spider book, all on its own, because I had to study people. I was a guide. Yeah. So yeah. And then the next part of the question is, do you read or understand Afrikaans or any other languages? Yeah, I do. But perhaps not as much as many other English speakers in South Africa. I went overseas when I was in middle grade. I went to England for 2 years. And so when I went back to South Africa, when I came home and went back to school, my Afrikaans was nowhere, because you study it at school. And I kind of never caught up. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult. But I can understand when people are talking to me. If I read a book, I can understand if I really concentrate, but a lot of it goes over my head. But to talk it, not really going to happen. So no. Yeah, that's my answer to that one. Okay, now we're getting to the final 2 questions that are kind of more fun. I like these questions, people. And first off, from Christian Ramos. Yeah. Is, do you have any other hobbies besides reading? Yeah, I've got lots of hobbies. Probably the biggest one I used to have that I don't have as much anymore is gaming. I used to do gaming a lot. And also music. We still listen to music often together. Have my preferences. You know, I've got an iTunes account with hundreds and hundreds of albums. But my obsession, people, besides Booktube, and sometimes it takes over from Booktube where I should be maybe supporting people on BookTube, I'm watching sport. I'm watching South African sport, in particular rugby. We're the world champions. I'm not boasting. There are a lot of teams that are very, very strong. And also cricket. It's a bit of an obsession of mine. So I know these are South African sports. In America, you might not understand them. But yeah, it's a little bit of an obsession with me. I used to play a lot of rugby. My back knows all about that. My physiotherapist said I'm going to be having back problems the rest of my life. And in fact, this month, I tried to move some furniture and my back gave out and I couldn't walk around properly for like 2 weeks. So yeah, but I don't regret it because I love the game. You grow up, when you're in the cradle, instead of getting a teddy bear, you get a rugby ball to hold on to. You start playing when you're 5 years old and barefoot, running around, learning how to pass and catch. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, that's kind of was a big part of my life, still is. And then I love to braai. I'm going to get to the next question just now as well. So South African pastime is outdoors, log fire. The weather in summer is better for it. But yeah, make a fire and put some food on the braai. It's like a barbecue. It's basically a barbecue. But we do it. And we see it's a national pastime here. So yeah. And then what else? Yeah. Walking Lola on the beach. Now that I don't have other distractions like we don't have gyms here or going out to the movies, we don't have theatres, we don't have anything. So we take Lola for a walk every night, or every day, and we go out onto the beach. Sometimes we play soccer. We just do crazy stuff with her. And that's our exercise. So yeah, that's my answer to that part. And then the next one. Do you read digital books or only physical copies? Both. I have a Kindle. I should have bought it here, sorry. But I prefer physical books. I just find it more pleasurable to hold a book in my hand, open it up and read. And don't have to rely on technology and batteries. And also sometimes, I think it's happened twice since I got my Kindle. It's gone a bit haywire. I don't know why. It's like I'm on a page and you have to turn the page. And it like goes flipping past 5-10 pages. What the hell's going on? It's like you have to reset it. And it's happened twice and I hate that. I don't like things going wrong when I'm reading. So I prefer my physical books, to be honest. Yeah. So that's my answer to that one. Okay, the final question is from Spooky Little Book Nerd. Check out her channel, awesome. And it says, if you could have dinner with 3 horror authors, living or dead, who's at the table and what's on the menu? I'm going to cheat you a little bit. I'm not going to have dinner without my wife. And my wife kind of in a way, she's written a book of poems and they're kind of scary. But I'm going to call her unpublished author. So she's going to have to be there. But then I need 3 authors that are published. So I'm going to have 5, table of 5, right? And so, yeah, I'm first going to go with my favourite, Stephen King. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I'm going to go with Robert McCammon, who's fast becoming my favourite. And I'm going to go with Clive Barker. I adore all 3 of those authors. They're my favourite. And I would love to have a conversation with them. I'd love to ask them questions about their career, highlights, lowlights, all that sort of stuff. And then it says, who's at the table and what's on the menu? Okay, I've actually drawn out a bit of a menu here. Remember I spoke about the South African braai. That's like a barbecue, right? Our national pastime. If they were going to be at our house, I would have to give them a really good braai. Outdoors, fire going, pass around some red wine. And red's going to be a theme here after all, it's horror. Okay? And then I would make, because I can braai, I would make some steak, perhaps, medium rare of course. You need that juice. You need it to be slightly juicy. And then maybe a potato bake. My wife would be in the kitchen sorting that stuff out. And salads, also prepared by my wife. Yeah, I'd concentrate on the meat. And then we have another thing in South Africa called boerewors. Boerewors. Which is like a large sausage. It's absolutely delicious. And you braai it. Turn it on. Yeah. Wonderful. And then, actually, I've thought about dessert as well. How about dark chocolate mousse with a bleeding raspberry center? So when you push the fork into the mousse, raspberry center comes out, blood. I think that'll fit into the menu quite nicely. They have a lot of interesting conversations. I can't leave out my wife. She's my soulmate. And she loves horror, so she'll have some good questions for the authors as well. She loves Stephen King. Right? Exactly. Okay everyone, so that's my video for tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for those that gave me some questions. But thank you to everyone who congratulated me, wished me well. And to everyone who's been part of this channel. You are the people that make this channel possible. Yeah, I love all of you. I love your support. Thank you so much for being part of this. But yeah, take care of yourselves everyone. Until next time, yeah, look after yourselves people. Keep those pages turning, and cheers.